Greetings, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Way of the Showman, where we view the world through the lens of showmanship. I am your gracious host, Captain Frodo, and can you believe it? We've been in a lockdown crazy world for more than 7 months. I still remember that day when as I talked about in episode 1, when it all shut down, when we basically went home that night and the next day we weren't invited back to work. And here we are, 7 months later. In the beginning, I believe they said they reckoned that we would shut down for about 3 weeks. Oh well. And even closer to us here now, you and me, is that I have reached, the time has come. This is the fabled final episode of Season 1, the one that I have been talking about since episode 10, because that's what I imagined I would do. I would do 10 episodes and then stop. Then it became a whole lot more. And you can see as the season progressed that in the beginning it was stories of myself and random topics. Then around episode 9 that we start the mythopoetic carnival explorations, and that became an in-depth thing. That grew and grew. Like all of it we'll be doing out there in the world as well. And that has really, apart from the fact that I have been getting my ducks in order and getting my mind around all these things that I've been thinking by forcing myself to try to express some of them clearly, the best thing about this has been the response that I've been getting from all of you beautiful people out there, followers of the way. It's been very, very nice. 5 months, every week we have met, some of us. I know those faithful listeners out there taking it all in, and it's been a beautiful respite in the world where we are finding ourselves homeless without that very special place that only us showfolk really know. Because it's worldwide still. Who would have thought? Everything shut down. I just saw this excellent little drawing where somebody was suggesting making theatres shaped in like aeroplanes, because for some reason aeroplanes are still allowed to travel with full seats, but theatres are still deemed too dangerous. And I've been seeing around as it's an excellent campaign that is creating awareness that art is work. Everybody's putting that on their profile pictures, and the need to point this out is just another example of how the world views what we do. They see it as frivolous, as something additional, largely supplementary, where the crushed nuts you can have sprinkled on your soft serve ice cream. It's nice, but not necessary. No necessity. They don't see the unimaginable depths that I see in what we do. How important it is for me, and how important it is, no doubt, for you. And, as we shall see, how important it is for humanity itself. They don't see showmanship, and they don't see that it is the very core of the human soul. This time, the criticisms of us and artists and the belittling is hitting all of us showfolk, the highbrow artists, well, ballet dancers and opera singers. Those lucky enough to be in companies with contracts might still be paid, but even in the opera and ballet there are changes looming, if not already implemented. I was under a contract until the day the show I was in closed. But as so many times in my career, when shit goes down, that contract is worth nothing. I was paid out the week I was in. For 2 days I didn't work. Paid for 2 days I didn't work, and after that the entire company, cast and crew, was on their own. The producer, Spiegelworld, went above and beyond what could be expected in these strange times by paying everyone's health insurance for the entire duration. In the US, this is a very big thing. I don't want to get into all of that now. I'm not blaming anyone, producers or companies, for any actions needed to survive these unprecedented situations. All I'm saying is that when shit hits the fan, we showfolk, we're on our own. This is the way for our kind. This is the way. One of the few glimmers of hope is that the Mandalorian Season 2 is coming out. This is the way for me. I love that. Anyway, we are nimble creatures. We will be alive to crawl out from our hiding places when the debris settles, like I always say, since I am a true lover of paleontology and dinosaurs and deep history. We're going to be like the little scuttling mammals that survived the impact of the asteroid. But things are going to change. It all about wiped out the dinosaurs. I'm not saying that Cirque du Soleil or La Rêve, some of these enormous shows in Vegas or around the world that has had to close down. I'm not saying they're dinosaurs. They were supremely adapted to the environment they were in. But now the environments have changed and other things will have to happen. There will be a new wave. All these artists released from contracts, all these people out there needing to create. It's what will the future look like? You know, the future for the dinosaurs was the birds. A quick fun fact about birds was that for a while after the catastrophe there were some species of winged dinosaur birds with teeth that survived the extinction event, but sadly then, as we know, the birds with teeth all died out along the way, since we don't have any birds with teeth. But I wish that we did. That would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Open that beak and be filled with these razor-sharp things. I would have liked to see that. Anyway, art is work, and it is. It's what I do for a living. But I would like to say that what I do is more than work. It's a calling. It is a vocation. And vocation is defined in the dictionary as a strong feeling of suitability for a particular career of occupation. It points not just to what I do, but to my strong inner conviction and my connection to what I do. This is no doubt the way for you too, or at least I hope it is, and if it isn't, then I'd urge you to rethink what it is you're doing. This is the time to do that. Our community, our industry, I believe, has a supremely high percentage of workers who does not just go to work and clock in their hours. I hurt my back when I worked with Circus Oz in 2004, and I went to a doctor and he said, "Oh, you've slipped a disc or something like that." And he said, "I will give you a sick note," or whatever that is, so that you can stay home and rest. And I said, all I want is a doctor's certificate so that the government work cover scheme could pay for some of my physio treatments. I needed that too, so that I could keep working. And we were doing a season in Melbourne, Australia at the time. And the doctor then said that he was kind of surprised, and he said that he had actually treated someone else from Circus Oz as well, and that as far as he could remember, we were the only two people that he had treated that kept going to work when they didn't legally need to. Of course, this is anecdotal, but it illustrates the point. We showfolk are where we are who we are, and we do the work we do because it expresses an inner truth, or a truth. It is how we make our inner geographies interact and connect with the outer real world geographies. Not all of us have some deep inner secret they want to share. I'm also talking about just a need to do something. Someone failing in theoretical subjects in school might be the next superstar of dance and choreography. In our industry, a very high percentage of these kinds of people who have something to say, who have something to show, something to express. And this reminds me, it's beautifully described by Sir Ken Robinson in a TED talk, and some other talks too, when he talks about Gillian Lynn, who was a choreographer and dancer, choreographed Cats and Phantom of the Opera, and also did choreographies for Muppet Show for a while. And yeah, when she was a kid, she didn't fit into school. In the 1930s, the school contacted her parents and said that they thought that Gillian had some sort of learning disorder. They called her mum in, and then with the doctor present, the teacher told the mum and went on about how bad Gillian was doing, and she was disturbing the other kids and all that, something I know myself in when I hear that. But with her, and Gillian, the little girl, was just sitting there listening to this. And at the end of all that talking, it was the doctor's turn. He said he wanted to talk with Gillian on his own, but told the mum to stand in the door and watched. And then he turned on the radio. He'd been watching her sitting there, jiggling and fidgeting on her chair. And as the radio turned on and music filled the room, Gillian instantly got up and started moving to the music. And for a moment they just watched her together, the mum and the doctor, and then the doctor turned and said, "Miss Lynn, Gillian isn't sick. She's a dancer." And her mum took her to a dance school, and Gillian said it was like a revelation. School was filled with people like her, people who couldn't sit still, people like us. We aren't sick. We're artists. We're circus performers, magicians, jugglers. We are comedians and fools. We are the show folk. Not all who work have a vocation. To many their work is just a way to pay the bills. We who follow the way of the showman are blessed that what we love, what we have a calling for many of us, also is the way that we put food on our tables and feed ourselves and those we love. Who knows what the future will bring us? So much time is coming at us. I've found myself saying no to gigs, as these days international travel almost invariably involves a 10-day quarantine. Being a father and doing a few jobs around town, it's not a viable way of life to have to spend 10 days in isolation after each time I have traveled to Sweden to be part of a show. The whole idea of this is kind of ugly. It's like the act of performing itself becomes a contagious disease. I go away, perform, and now I might bring back the plague. It's not a nice feeling. We're not sick. We're show folk. The artist work campaign is a good thing, but I also see there are friends who are opposing the idea of sidestepping into other occupations. But as a realist and pragmatist, I guess I'm using my rather open definition of who the showman is, thus who I am, to open myself up to other possibilities. The world has given us a very strange time, a very peculiar time. It finds me smack bang in the middle of my middle age. If I'm lucky, I have half my life left to live. Probably I have less than half left. Just saw this poem today by David White that I hadn't read before. It just ends with this thing of just a reminder that we are always just a hair's breadth away from death. Just, you never know. Anyway, I for one have been reminded that there are other things that can be as important as performing 10 shows a week. I've gone through a complete reality transformation since this podcast started. I've moved with my wife and child from the USA to Norway, and as one door closed, I have found a whole different reality here. The world is filled with adjacent possibles. It's Stuart Kaufman's principle. The adjacent possible is a kind of shadow future, hovering on the edges of the present state of things, a map of all the ways in which the present can reinvent itself. The adjacent possible captures both the limits and the creative potential of change and innovation. It's like there's so much complexity in what's going on right now. And as one thing breaks down, the world is so complex that there are patterns and possibilities just beyond the thin veil of what you thought was just reality as it was, and you couldn't be changed and you knew everything. Just behind that other side, there's a whole new world of possibilities. I have jumped ship into an adjacent possible, one of them being this podcast. This has been my first stab at introducing this way of the showman to the world, to you. And I'm so grateful for you listening and listening in, and hopefully taking some of these ideas on as well. I already have big topics lined up for the coming seasons. Writing and thinking out weekly episodes for the last 5 months has left me with precious little time for my book project. I've come to realize that the contents of that book, which aims to understand who the showman is and the whole system that has been developing inside my heart and mind throughout my long career as a practitioner of the craft of showmanship, this will probably be a good fit for the next season of The Way of the Showman. Through autobiographical examples, I'll explain how I arrived at these understandings and hopefully create some sort of schema or system as to what I see showmanship being, and by understanding what it is, we can also then see and navigate through the adjacent possibles as to what we can do with showmanship. We've only just begun this journey down the way. We've only just scratched the surface. And I'm so happy to be going along the way with you. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Now, as I've already trumpeted many times, what will happen today will be a slightly different. What follows will turn eventually into a kind of story, an imaginative telling of the tales of the things that I have felt and thought and discovered in the last months of us meeting like this, and I've dredged up along my way as a showman. When the podcast version of The Way of the Showman started, before the strange and eerie backdrop of a world plague pandemic, I was seeing sea imagery, the ocean as a symbol, and with its ships and boats and crow's nests and shipwrecks that all came crashing in like so many flood waves. And I realized, as I kept thinking about this, kept thinking about the ShowmanShip, I realized that I've been thinking in these terms for a long time. As I found a recording of a song that I made. I can't remember exactly when I made it, but the recording, it says in my music program, I recorded it as a one take, recorded it straight into the computer. And the song is called The Showmanship. And I'm going to play that a little bit later, that recording. So anyway, I've been in this state of nautical dreaming for some time, or perhaps I could say that the showmanship has sailed about my mind for a few years. But the surrounding imagery and the many aspects and surrounding phenomena has grown immensely in the last months as our show focus experienced a complete liquidation. A liquefaction is actually the word that I'm looking for. A liquefaction of our reality. And liquefaction is the process of turning something solid into a liquid. There are some incredible examples of soil liquefaction online. One crazy one is where water has come into the ground, the silt and what used to be hard compacted clay. It's a particular type of sort of quick clay or whatever that gets the right amount or wrong amount of water just put into it, and the water turns into quicksand, and this whole apartment block has just tilted over and fallen over on its back, kind of. Another one, very cool one, with a car that might have been actually after an earthquake. Don't know where it was, but the earthquake has come, the silt and soil has shook, and water has gone into it, and it has swallowed a car, so the back end is sticking up like the tip of Titanic, but it looks like it's been cemented in because the clay is totally hard and flat with just the back end of the car sticking out. It's really weird. As the world liquefied, we show folk in particular sunk into this quicksand mess. And as time has passed, many other people, with other callings and to other vocations, have managed to pull themselves out of the quagmire But us showfolk, as a worldwide community, we still very much struggle to find our way home in this new reality of broken expectations. Broken expectations is a tool in comedy, but if this is a joke, the fun has worn off. 7 months in, I am not laughing anymore. I want to get back onto the showmanship. I want to climb the ladder up to the poop deck, place my hands on the smoothly worn ship's wheel, and set sails into the realm between myself and the audience, to a secret and sacred state. We are one, the crowd and us. We are one, but not the same. We're elements in the same process. This should be one of our takeaways from season 1. What we care most about, the most important things in life, aren't things at all. They are processes. They're elements coming together and unfolding in time. Showmanship is less like a rock than a fire, less like a place than a journey. Showmanship is less like a high-riser than a ship. But the showmanship is unlike any other ships. The ship comes into being when humans gather, when we take the ancient and powerful form of facing each other in true communion, which is the sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts and feelings, especially on a mental or spiritual level. In these kinds of meetings, a door opens, another realm comes into being, and the adjacent possible comes near. And like Jesus put it, when 2 or 3 of you are gathered together, I am there among you. As a showman, I think Jesus did some pretty remarkable things, and as I see it, when he says that I am there among you, or that he is there amongst them when people are gathered, he is equating this third space, the realm of symbols and showmanship, with himself. He is also, as many of you might know, equating himself to God, being 1/3 of the Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. He's saying that there is a sacred presence when we gather, a sacred possibility. And I think this is very closely overlapping with the Trinity that we've been talking about here, the Trinity of the showman, audience, and the third space, the show. Playfully, perhaps, but serious as well, in the way that the clown does his serious play. I can see a symbolic relation between the Father as the one who stands before a group of people facing the other way. The audience has gone from many individuals to one group self, something larger than themselves. And Jesus was, in a sense, the personification of mankind, the spirit of many made one. So the Son, Father is standing, facing the others, and we have the many made one. That's the Son, and the Holy Spirit is in that sense where all the spiritual resides and comes from, that third space, the realm of the most human, the kind of things that you can't really talk about to your dog. These kinds of thoughts are probably blasphemy to some, but I do not mean to belittle anyone's religious notions. To the contrary, I'm merely using the language and concepts of religion to point out in our own mythopoetic way how rich our craft's symbolic imagery can be. And when you start taking in this way, our way, the way of the showman, you, like me, will be able to see it everywhere, and many things will begin to make sense for you. It's a lens through which to view the world, which makes the world make sense. I'm aware that it is a lens, but I like what I see, and I for one will keep looking, and I will keep sharing it with you. Now, let's begin the trip down. Let's head in direction of the showmanship. It's almost time to board and set sails. And before we do, just let's get some things clear. The nautical is redolent. It is dripping from our craft of showmanship. It's not just some funny, clever pun. The coming exploration is mythopoetic, and first, so let's just look at a few key words. I do always enjoy to look at the meaning of words, being here on this sound stage where word is king, imagery coming from the words. Let's just look at these words and see just how rich and how incredibly deep the connections are. A craft is also a ship. Our craft is the showmanship. This craft is how the showman can travel out of himself. It's the way he can reach from his inner continent to the outer continent of the world. It is a ship we board when we meet with others. It's what we board when we connect the two geographies, the inner and the outer, the showman and the crowd. Our craft of showmanship sails on waves of imagination. The craft of showmanship is a people freighter, or perhaps more apt, the showmanship is a people mover. You move people with showmanship. The craft of showmanship moves crowds, quite literally. The audience moves whilst watching the show, and also internally and emotionally they are moved by the experience and participation in the show. When done right, you have transported them the journey of the show, leaving them in another place than where they got on, and if done right, a better place. The craft, a better place, and a more illuminated place perhaps. The craft of showmanship is ultimately about conveyance. It's about making an idea, an impression or feeling known and understandable to someone. But interestingly, another meaning of this word, convey, is to transport or carry something from one place to another. A craft conveys cargo. The showmanship conveys cargo. Something that's been gathered, prepared and loaded onto and into the showmanship. This cargo is conveyed or carried to the other shore, past the frontier between the world and us. The crowd inspects the cargo. They are skeptical. It must clear all inspections and customs, and only if it is found to be of value and free of disease will it be accepted and unloaded. When the many gather around the one who faces the other way, they are expecting him to convey something, to show them something, to tell them something, something beautiful, something moving, to make them feel, think, understand, see, to even get enthused. They are expecting, rightly so, that you, the captain of the showmanship, carry a precious cargo. For what we do is a craft, the craft of showmanship. It is an activity involving skills. We are members of a skilled profession. But there's another meaning of the word craft, and that is a vessel. A vessel is a ship or a large boat, but a vessel is also a hollow container. And in an archaic use of that word, a vessel can be a person, a human being. When used about a human being, it's most often used in a sacred, religious or spiritual sense, in the way a person can become a vessel for holding or embodying a particular quality, a quality pointing beyond a ruthless, cruel and asocial in us towards the best we can be, which this striving is, I don't mind thinking of this as divine. It is not a coincidence that when we contemplate the realm that comes into being when two or three or more are gathered, we start finding spiritual language. As we look at the core of what our craft is, we can find all the most beautiful human attributes: imagination, art, spirituality, laughter, community, empathy, connection, play, tribe, meaning, memory, ceremony and ritual, healing, purpose, curiosity, compassion, creativity, and love. We find a way to understand ourselves and the world, and maybe for us, aimlessly drifting, rudderless showfolk, it's a way home. Now, come with me. Let's head down to the sea. Let's inspect the keel and stern and see what we can learn. How many times have I prepared something? A carefully worded sequence of thoughts scrutinized and practiced to fit with movements, skills and choreography, both visible and secret, to present and show to others? Too many to count is the answer. I'm talking about creating and practicing an act here, just in case I'm being too vague and poetic. Like, part of my process is to, preparing something and have a carefully worded sequence of thoughts scrutinized and practiced to fit with movements, skills and choreography, both visible and secret, to present and show to others. This is rehearsal, in a way, creation. Last time I was creating and rehearsing an act, it was a magic act for a one-off performance for the Good Night Gala, which is an annual fundraiser for my daughter's little Steiner school, Waldorf school in Las Vegas. I was on the school board there for a long while. Anyway, we held that gala 2 weeks before the coronavirus lockdown. That was a moment of significant timing. Even 2 weeks later, and we would have had to cancel the whole event, which would have had very severe consequences for the future of the school, since after the school got shut because of the plague, the only thing that managed to keep it afloat for a while was the money we made from putting on that gala show. So that was a case of good magic. In any magic act, as we've talked about before, there are at least 2 layers: the effect and the method. The visible movements which creates the effect, and the secret moves making the effect possible. We call that the method. And in the act I was creating, there was one more level. There was the level of story. I wrote a very special story on the aims of education and the significance of childhood and the importance of educating the whole human being. And after endless repetitions, fine-tunings, where I listened to the same music over and over to find just the right inflections and intonations of meaning, the day of the Good Night Gala finally arrived, and I took to the stage. I faced the others with something to show them. I gazed out upon a sea of lifted, expectant faces. Most of them didn't know me or my work. Parents from school, a nerve-wracking moment. They're expecting something. They're expecting everything. A precious cargo to be unloaded from the showmanship I captain. When you tell someone you're nervous about performing, fellow showmen or people in general, they might say, just be yourself, without giving a second's thought to the fact that this is perhaps the greatest challenge of all, to know who you are and thus be able to be yourself. The challenge is real. In my earliest days along the way of the showman, I would crumble in these moments, uncertainty melting away what little sense I had of who I was. As the audience looked at me with faces like so many question marks, I understood their puzzlement, because I felt equally unfamiliar to myself. But standing before the crowd of beautiful strangers that night, before the pandemic, the night of the Good Night Gala, I took a deep breath, looked again at the lightly undulating waves, the waves of bobbing, attentive heads, and then stepped into the spotlight to hold up the sea from inside myself as a mirror to the sea of expectant strangers before me. They call me Frodo, Captain Frodo of the ShowmanShip. I have found my guiding star and set my course. So, come with me, we'll travel to the sea, we'll get aboard the showmanship and sail away all free. The
is made of canvas that's pegged into the ground. The foghorn is a sousaphone, it makes that mournful sound. The captain is the rubber man, and the mast is a stack of cans. And high up in the crow's nest, our dreams began. Oh, the showmanship, it sails to fantasy. Oh, the showmanship, it sails in you and me. The ship, it sails into a shipwreck of a town. The carnies, freaks and acrobats save souls about to drown. Oh, we'll rescue Red-Head Mary and we'll pull up Tiny Tim. Oh, we'll gather up the lonely Goths and we'll pull up Four-Eyed Jim. For as the showmanship, it sails away, together we shall sing. Oh, we'll laugh and cry and shout out proud. Oh, the misfit shall be king. Oh, the showmanship, it sails the fantasy. Oh, the showmanship, it sails in you and me. Oh, it sails in you and me.
Showmanship has shipwrecked. Our intrepid reporter has more. In March of the year 2020, the Showmanship was hit beneath the waterline. The Showmanship was sunk by the plague called COVID-19, like an iceberg. Like a worldwide superstorm, the pandemic hit the Showmanship and smashed it open. It took in water, it let in sea, chaos ruled, and its captain, its many, many captains, went down. The captains all went down with their trusted ships, the grandest shipwreck for the grandest fleet of showmanships. And standing faithful at the bow, as their craft drowned beneath the waves, the captains of the showmanships went down. O captain, my captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every wrack, the prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel, the vessel grim and daring. But oh heart, oh the bleeding drops of red, whereon the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold and dead. The pandemic has made showmen into Robinson Crusoes, stranded in lockdowns in their houses, each showman an island with no showmanship to sail them away, to rescue them from existential abyss. A quick public service announcement. Scientists have found that the fantasy, the realm most frequently sailed by the showmanship, contains a necessary and essential vitamin,
The fantasy is a vital source of a kind of vitamin C for the soul. Without a steady supply of this vitamin C, one develops a disease of deficiency, a scurvy of the soul. Scurvy of the body, as some of our listeners might know, is a disease which ultimately attacks the connective tissues. It weakens connective tissue throughout the body, resulting in organ failures, hearts melting. The scurvy of the soul weakens the connective tissues of society. It dissolves the stuff that keeps the fabric of our social reality together. It breaks down our consensus reality. As a worldwide society, we stand at the brink of contracting a deficiency disease attacking the connective tissues of mankind. Like how a human being can't produce vitamin C by themselves, the vitamin C we get from the fantasy, the sailing of the showmanship, can't be produced by single individuals. We can't produce it on our own, so we need to seek it by getting together with others. But too much time away, too much time alone, the symptoms of this scurvy of the soul is similar to the scurvy of the body. Old wounds can open, old broken bones that's healed, that we again have learned to trust, breaks apart again. The pillars of community crumbles, and they crack in isolation. This is a public service announcement to make sure you participatorily take in enough of this vitamin C to keep your soul satiated and healthy. It used to be available in all good theaters, circuses, and market squares. These days, you'll have to get it where you can. Your life and well-being might depend on it. Now, back to our regular scheduled programming.
The showmanship has run aground. The showmanship is sinking. Was the showman captain at the helm comatose from drinking? What was the captain thinking? Has he fallen deep asleep? But no, my friends, it isn't so. We're truly lost beyond all know. Regardless who's been at the helm, we've lost this very realm. We're not just lost at sea, you see. The showmanship sits still. There is no rocking motion. Captain at the helm, we've lost the very ocean. We look around like in a dream. Nothing's like how it should seem. The sea's dried up or drained away. Is there subterfuge at play? A strange and super rare event, an angry God sent punishment? We gather round the radio. We all really want to know. Tiny crackling voices tell of a brand new kind of hell. Our peculiar situation is not singular to us or any sovereign nation. The showmanship and fantasy is nowhere to be found. No crowds amass. They're all at home, all afraid to come, to partake in attractions. The world is in contraction. The great expansion is no more. We grew and grew. We did not know how bad it all could go. The hissing worldwide news report goes on. We learn the world we've known is gone. We showfolk are alone, without our precious audience, our better halves, the crowd and throng. Without them gathered, there's no place where we belong. For they are all a part of us. Without them, there is no buzz, no place for us, no place for me. Without them, we are naught, you see. A showman with no crowd can never stand up proud, and the only celebration is inside imagination. We gather close around the radio. There is a crackling hum. Through the faintest guitar strum, a voice tells us what we long to know.
The tiniest of winds began in the far-off China Sea. Like all big things, it started small. It was no thing of note at all. But little things can grow too big. A butterfly on a twig stirring air in such a way can cause a great big storm one day. It was just such a storm that hit the whole goddamn world. The storm it blew and whirled, not on
the external seas, it stirred inner geographies. This dreadful inner storm, too small to even see, it blew down every nation, bringing halt and quick stagnation. I don't want this storm inside of me, the dreaded seas of D. Such storms as these, stay from me, please. I fear the dark disease. This awful storm of inner oceans creates for some deadly commotions, as sure as from a noose, leaving hundreds, thousands sailors to face the final storm and lose, drowned in dark disease. Remember, please, as your lifeboat is lowered beneath 6 feet of dirt, there are no pockets in the final shirt. As your lifeboat is lowered beneath 6 feet of dirt, there are no pockets in the final shirt. Oh, Captain, my Captain, tell me, please, what is this ship you sail? You know it well, the captain said, but let me try and tell. 'Tis a mode of transport, a vessel of a kind, where time and space and shared attention is refined. It's a union for the soul, so the many forms a whole. It is a secret of the kind that all of you will know. It is a journey along which the most human things can grow. Only people purchase tickets to board this famous ship. No dog or duck would give a quack. Only humans board this ship, joining others for the trip. For this craft, it can only dock inside of human hearts. It's not for lonely islands or separated parts. It joins up and ties as one all the many pieces. It binds together and combines, so what's significant increases. When the ladies and the gentlemen are all but lonely isles, there is no sea to sail. The docks of hearts inside the crowds get sea between, through the magic of a show. This I surely know. When great brig throngs is led along by one who stands the other way, who has such profound things to say, to share and put on show, the one who stands the other way, he makes them want to know. The showman is the captain, he's led them to the shore of the fabled fantasy. You know it has begun, for the many now are one. They are a great big crowd, so blessedly endowed with a brand new space, presented right before them, the great big frontier, where self it meets with other, and learns to call it brother. This is where they find the most secretive of seas, the most mysterious place of mystic marine matters. They stand upon the quay of the fabled fantasy. The showmanship, the showmanship. You sail it in a show, and you sail its seas each night. When nothing is quite right, you sail it in your dreams. You've sailed it more'n you'll ever know. No ship has carried more excited, hopeful passengers to great and unknown shores, to places sweet, fun and dark, with thrills that all adores. But if you say you feel this is unreal, let me share with you the deal. The showmanship it sails. It sails just like a sunbeam. It isn't just a dream. For light itself cannot be seen in the deep vacuum of space. The wave of light is hidden till it hits someone in the face. As light it flies out from the sun and through the night of space, it's nowhere to be seen. But when the beam is whirled right at our precious little world, it bursts apart the dark of night, makes our world explosive bright. the journey as invisible has ended and transformed to light. The showmanship's alive in the meeting of foundations. Life itself does surely thrive in eternal conversations. The sea below and sky above, each infinite and endless in their own directions, just at the horizon, where sky and ocean meet, where clouds and stars and fog and sleet thrash the bobbing vessel in the grandest subtle wrestle. To see this great and secret show, you must know just where to go. You'll see the great commotion, you'll see the bold promotion, huge exciting circus posters, carnival bills with roller coasters, radio plays with famous stars, crazy films of monsters from Mars. We, the show folk, set the scene, create the situations. We raise the carnivals to circuses, we build the opera houses, we join our friends, we take our kids, go arm in arm with spouses. We're primed for stimulations, they all take you away. Makes us into pilgrims crossing unknown seas to most mysterious bay. All these apparitions and also superstitions, our tools create conditions to conjure up the inner sea that stretches out in you and me, that roils inside us all. Come gather, be enthralled. To be a captain can be grand, but it's lonely on the bridge. The greatest and most elevated captains, as it happens, has sailed the unknown regions, has hoisted rags and loosened all the ties to all but the eternal. They sailed the deepest night-dark seas, so desolate alone. There's far between the ships on the night-dark sea. It's very far between the tiny little lanterns, but on the most rarefied and very scarce occasions, they exchanged glances from afar, with captains sailing by like dancing stars of illuminations, lit from heartfelt lonely fires, guiding ways for places and desires, where most maps make little sense, for many maps describes this place, yet none depicts the same terrain on their painted face. Performative wave topography brings for you and me to see an inner marine geography requiring new cartography. No courses are well travelled, no trade routes for these ships, where solo searchlights does persist through the night's lasting eclipse. Shores are sought and islands found, more ocean and more solid ground, floating isles of junk debris, geographies uncounted, undreamt in any other region. A rugged coast with mountains, perhaps it is Norwegian. The elevated masters, the captains of the great unknown regions comes home with tales of wonder, of edges incomplete and fleeting, subtle and specific, partial and terrific. Tales of wild blue yonder, not just land ahoy, crooked shacks upon far shores, but also subtle inner wars, the broken and the beautiful, the out of place and suitable. So who are these? The captains. How desperately we want the captain, want to trust to keep us safe and set the course at night, so we can rest and slumber and needn't wake in fright. One who wakes on danger when we are all asleep. Someone to take care of us, to herd us like good sheep. But most of all, we want the captain to blame when things go wrong. We find captains all around, bosses at work, case managers, directors of shows, producers, team leaders. Each and every institution has captains or some substitution. But what about the vessel whose cargo is ourselves? The one we keep our minds inside, tucked into its shelves? Who is captain of this ship? Who decides the course it sails for each and every trip? Think, and you will know it's true. The captain of your craft is you. In some of us, the hidden giant of a captain has fallen deep asleep in the blankets that he's wrapped in. The time has come to make the leap, to set the loud alarm to bleep. Awake your captain, it's time, the foghorn blows, the bells all chime. With a racket from alarm and foghorn and the chiming of the bell, and the captain wakes. When he does, you need to queer him for a spell. When you wake that sleeping captain, you'll see him in the mirror. And when you do, the captain stares right back at you each morning, with wise and probing eyes, your own, asking you, are you you? And most of all, are you true? Are you true to you? Because each of us is a captain. I am Captain Frodo. We have Captain Ruin, and we do have Captain Kidd, and Captain Red-Haired Mary, and Captain Tiny Tim, the captains of the Lonely Goths, and Captain Four-Eyed Jim. You are too a captain, so look inside, look around, and look above. Try and locate all the love. Strive to be kind, and always, always keep your guiding star in mind. Wherever you may wander, wherever you may roam, always keep your guiding star in mind. True course will get you home. Like the sea, truth is a pathless landscape. There are no roads, just courses, true or false. Inside your heart, there is a secret little fire, so weak and dim and hard to spot, it's easily forgot. This little flame is your true will, your very true desire. Do what thou wilt shall be the law, but what inside your heart of hearts fills you up with awe? What do you admire? What's your true desire? The wisest captains knows the truth of true desire, that once upon forgotten time, in a long abandoned tongue, the origins behind that very lustrous word desire was told and sometimes sung. Its roots come from the sky. It meant what the stars will bring, of what constellations sing. Desire pointed to the stars as guiding reservoirs. To set a course on sea, two stars are joined. The one that's light must be in sight. That's the one above. The other dim interior star we know by the name of love. And by now I think you know, swinging to and fro, your course goes like a slack rope trip. You're the captain of the ShowmanShip. Now, I have no more to say. Set your sails and sail away, and I'll see you all along the way.
There once was a man who hailed from Norway. Frodo was his name. He was born beneath a wandering star, so he traveled near and far. This boy they could not tame. He lived the way of a showman, the life of the road, traveling from town to town, proving that the globe is round to ease a heavy load. He was the captain of the freaks, but he never would rise to king. Frodo was not born to lead, he was here to plant the seed from which new hope would spring. What is the fate of a man with a restless soul? Is he always doomed to wander? Or will he find a place called home in the wild blue yonder? La 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 la. Crowds gathered round, the magic would begin. Atop a towering stack of cans, he revealed the boy inside the man for the world to see again. As Captain Frodo lived his dream, he reminded us of our own. Peeling back the hardened shell, we found the child we hid so well, and so we found our way back home. What is the fate of a man with a restless soul? Is he always doomed to wander? Or will he find a place called home in the wild blue yonder? La 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 waits there in that old abandoned home, beneath the ivy and the weeds. There are another 1,000 seeds from which our dreams are grown. And so all of the restless souls, always doomed to wander, we have found a place called home in the wild blue yonder. And so all of the restless souls, always doomed to wander, we have found a place called home in the wild blue yonder.
Thus concludes the ballad of Captain Frodo, written by the formidable showman, the inspiration of myself and many others, Michael Simic, who wrote the ballad of Captain Frodo in 2008 for my birthday, as we were performing in La Clique together in Adelaide for the Adelaide Fringe Festival. And I thought that's probably the first time that has been published or officially put out. It's a beautiful song, and I thought I'd end it with this, even if it feels a little grandiose. I think it touches upon themes in a beautiful, poetic way, the themes of this podcast, expressed more beautiful and eloquent than I could do myself. Thank you, Michael. And Michael has also made 3 of the tracks that you'll hear underneath the soundscape of what you have just heard as well. And as this first season of The Way of the Showman draws to an end, I would just like to thank you all for your gracious donations of your time and attention. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and to realize that I have so much to say about the way, and it has been beautiful for me to have so many of you listen. We've only been going for 5 months, and so far we've had about 5,000 episodes listened to, so I'm very, very excited and very happy about where we're parting ways. And the way it winds and curves and S-bends up the mountainside, and who knows, as I now will part ways with you and continue up over the mountain ridge, I for sure will turn back at the top and look back at you all as you head out into the valleys and the roads and the plains of the world out there. I'm imagining you all doing great things. I know you will. I will certainly do that too. I will do my best. I will follow the way as best as I can. And we will meet back up again here. The exact time, the exact place hasn't fully been decided yet, but I have so much more to share, so many more stories to tell, and there's so many new possibilities that can open up along the way. So, if you haven't already, or if you know someone who haven't, subscribe to the episode, or perhaps now, then is the time. Get them to subscribe, and just like with the TV shows, they can binge listen the whole 5-month journey that you, and certainly a whole lot more of you, have been on. Weekly meetings like this. It's been little flagships to us. We are, little ships in the meeting each other in the night. And I hope that perhaps you can, if you haven't already, as a special thank you for the 5 months of work we have done and explorations we have done together, perhaps this is the time for you to click 5 stars. I know there's been a few of you, about 20 or so, that has gone onto iTunes and just click the 5 stars. It takes 5 seconds. It would be great to get 5,000. Then more people would find it. That's really the only reason why I'm asking for all this. Anyway, thank you so much. It's been great to walk alongside you along the way. Until next time, I'll say take care of yourself and those you love, and I will see you along the way.